Welcome back to my tools tutorial in Unity. And today we are going to be covering different layers, basically. So we're going to create a new map, and I'm just going to paint some. Don't turn that off. Let's turn that on. Let's paint a square here, and we've got a new button. And actually, I've changed a bit how it looks, so you'll see there. But whatever. And then we will create a new layer. And you'll see that now we can see that these have got slightly more white because the actual base tile is just a semi-transparent white tile. So yeah, and we've got two layers here on this little active button scene. I don't know if you can see it, but whatever. It's saying the active layer is 0 and its sorting order is 0. So we can set the active layer to be 1 now. So we're on the second layer, and we can just paint again on these tiles. And we can also use these buttons here, where are they? Sorry, to change the sorting order of the layers. So now the current layer, layer 1, is above the first layer, but if we decrease the active sorting order, we can see that these bits become sort of like white and semi-transparent, whereas the original square we drew is not, because the sorting order for the second layer is now -1 compared to the original one's 0. And I'm going to show you how to do that, basically. So yeah, let's get on to it. Alright, so I'm just going to cover the new layer class first, because essentially it's identical to... It's like basically a load of it is code we have ripped out of the level creator script so that we can have multiple instances of it, so we can have multiple layers. So you'll see that we've got the tile prefab, which we don't actually need, but whatever. So we've got like rows of tiles, the information on the grid, so the bottom left and top right, the mouse and the scene. We don't need the output, I don't think, but we still use it, so I'll just leave it there. Sorry about the train. And we've got the bools for assigning multiple tiles when you're drawing on a grid and stuff like that. But we've also got one new variable called layer sorting order, which is basically just the sorting order of the tiles in the grid. So yeah, okay. So yeah, so functionally, it's identical to what we had last time, which is copy and paste job. So you'll see that the width and tiles, it just calculates all the. Oh, sorry, got to zoom in. Zoom in. Yeah, so basically all this stuff is identical apart from a few bits that I'm going to go over here. So one is that we are still referencing the level creator.me. If I didn't point that out last time, it's basically a singleton. So you have a, I think I pointed it out. So yeah, we have a, where is it? Public static level creator me, and we assign this in the on scene GUI. So every frame it checks if we need to set the singleton. And if we do, where is set singleton? I'll just show you that. Set singleton, it just sets me to this. So it has a reference to the level creator. And that's what we use to find out whether we should paint tiles or more paint tiles. And we do this because, well, it basically saves us having to rewrite the level creator inspector GUI buttons to affect the current layer. It just saves us a little bit of time, basically. And other than checking the level creator.me for the references, it's pretty much the same. Well, actually, it's identical. So yeah, the reset is again the same, but we also have another version of the reset in the level creator script still, which I will go over. Create initial row and create row at bottom, create row at top. All these create methods are the same. And reset layer, but we have one new method. Actually, no, sorry, two new methods. One is reset layer. Basically, when we create in a new layer, we're basically taking the last element of the list in the level creator and instantiating a new copy of it. So the actual new layer will be exactly the same size as the old layer. But if we didn't do this reset layer method, it would have the same sprites and stuff as the old layer. So this basically just goes through all the rows, all the chunks, and all the tiles, and we'll call this reinitialize method with the new sorting order that's passed into it for the tiles. And what this does basically is it just sets it is blank to true, which will be implemented at some point. It's basically, I'm going to link it up to a button where you click it and it gets rid of all the blank tiles. So when you want to build, you can do that, or it'll just like disable them or something. So yeah, so it'll be something like that. Gets a sprite renderer, sets the sorting order to whatever was passed in, and then we'll set the sprite to be the level creator.me.blank sprite, which is just the white sprite that you saw in the beginning that makes everything look slightly white and semi-transparent and whatnot. Okay, what else? And you'll also see that Tile has a new method called set sorting order, which sets the sorting order of the sprite renderer, and it's just used when we're increasing or decreasing the method with the buttons. Show you answer in a minute. Yeah, so on the level creator, since we've taken out all the like grid controlling methods and stuff, we've been able to remove a fair few variables. So I think it was like the info on the grid that we've been able to remove out and put in here, little rows of tiles and stuff like that. Still need to keep the mouse and scene. But yeah, so we've got a lot less variables here. And we've got a few new ones. So we've got a list of game objects again, layers in the map. That is just, well, the layers in the tile map, pretty much. We've got the game object that's the currently being edited layer. We've got the layer script of the active layer, so it's easy to reference. And again, singleton is me. I already showed you. Where is it? So this create initial layer will create a new game object. Calls it layer, whatever, and then sets it to be a child of the level creator object. This is just so the hierarchy is nice and neat. We then add a layer, add this to the list of layers in the map, or the game object, and we set it to be the active layer because this is basically what happens on startup now. We create the initial layer, and I believe this was the same. I basically just reinitialized the refactored the existing create initial row or chunk, whatever method. So basically you can change the names of methods that you've already written by doing it here. And that will allow you to change the name, and it will automatically change it in any point it has been referenced in your entire projects, which is pretty cool. So if you didn't know that, you can do that. And then we just set it to active layer, and we call the create initial chunk method on the layer, which is identical again. It just creates a row and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we set the level creator to is initialized equals true. Ow, just stuck myself. Okay. What else? I've also got a similar method that's for creating a new layer, which, like I said, will instantiate the last layer in the map again. It'll create a copy of the last layer in the map by using this, and then we'll just call that reset method with an increment with the sorting order of the previous layer plus one. So it appears above it, and then it'll just create the name, set a transform parent, and add it to the layers in map, but it won't switch to that layer just yet. I've also got a new method called set active layer, which takes the game object and just reassigns the active layer object and gets the layer off that component. What else? And reset. Basically, the reset and expand grid methods still exist, but they've been changed. So basically, all they do is they go through each of the layers in the layers in map. They get the layer off the game object and call a reset button, or in the reset version, and calls destroy immediate. So it destroys the layer, and we reinitialize the list so it's blank, and reset is initialized to false. So we're back at where we started. And the expand grid methods, these basically just go through each of the layers, get the layer script, and call expand grid in the respective direction. Which, as you can see here, it just works exactly the same. It's just we need to call it from here, so it expands every layer rather than just the one. So yeah, one more thing is I think that was everything in this script. Oh no, it wasn't. And as for we also keep the methods for get info on grid dimensions and calculating where the mouse chunk is over. Basically, because it stops us having to reassign it in a level creator inspector. So, and it also allows us to set the mouse and scene for the active layer, and then we just call get info on grid dimensions because the grid is held there, and we need to do it there instead of here. And then calculate the chunk the mouse is over, and that assigns it. That basically just calls these methods here without breaking anything in the inspector or having to change it. So that's just a time-saving thing. And now on the inspector, I've actually just changed a few things. So I've added these GUI layout labels, which basically just draws text in the inspector, just because it looks a bit neater. I'll have to re-go over this and make it up. One of the episodes will be focused on doing a nicer looking GUI, but this is functional for now. So we've got basically a button just to create a new layer, which calls the my target.create new layer. And we've got a label just saying what the active layer is and what its sorting order is. And then for each of the layers in my layers and map, we basically just draw a button saying we want to set this layer to be active and the layer sorting order. And we've got the two buttons which will increase or decrease the sorting order by grabbing the current layer's sorting order and adding one or taking away one. And we've got basically I just wanted to have an output for the index for debugging purposes, so that's why that's there. And what else? Yeah, these are all the same. Yeah, and that's pretty much it, I think. I don't think there was anything else. Tile chunk has not changed. Is there anything else? Move tile goes here. Oh, yes. Again, we have a reference to the singleton to grab the test different sprites that we need to change it to in the painting method. Just because since we're creating layers with code, we don't really have a way to assign prefabs to be variables, so we have to keep them in the level creator script for now. There will be another way we could just load resources, but that'll be another episode. So yeah. What else? Don't think there's anything else I need to mention. So yeah, basically all we've done is just copy and paste the grid manipulation code into its own layer class, and then use the level creator to manipulate it, and presto, you can have layers. So yeah, I'll just give you a quick demo of that again. So we just reset the editor map, create a new editor map. I can paint here, so I'll paint this P shape, but if we create a new layer and set that to be active, we can create an O shape. And if we decrease the active sorting order, we can see that we can make the P appear in front of it. We can increase it again, make the O appear in front of it, and we can manipulate that. I know there isn't a method to actually delete layers, so that'll probably be something. I'll have to do that along with some kind of eraser. But yeah, that'd be good. So cheers for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that shit. Go check out my stuff on Itch.io, links in the description below. And the reason you're getting a video earlier this week is because I'm graduating on Thursday and I'm out on Wednesday. So it's either now or not at all. So yeah. Bye.